I have absolutely loved Deities since I saw it and played it for the first time at Spiel 2022. It has become one of our favorite games at the table because it plays quickly, is fairly simple, and there is a lot to do within this game. Let me show you how it plays. So play we all. This absolutely beautiful looking game is an Euro game fairly light by Mandu Games that came out in 2022. I was able to get one of the 100 copies that reached Spiel, and now let me show you exactly how it plays from beginning till end. Firstly, let's take a look at all the components. This is the board, and the board has a number of areas that are going to become very relevant throughout the game. You have the seas, forests, mountains, and the plains. As you can see, there are different locations or tiles where you're going to be adding the tiles or the chits that are going to act as villages. In this game, we are the gods, and as such, we are creating villages, and in that order, they're going to give us some resources that then we can use to buy either walls, fortresses, or towers that will help us ascertain our dominance over the territories, and that will allow us also to get the victory points we are going to need in order to win the game. We're going to get resources, we're going to trade them, and we're going to grow and grow and grow. But there is a lot more to it than just that. These are the player boards. This is a game for 2 to 4 players, and every player is going to get one of these boards. Together with these, we're going to get this, which are the pieces that we will need in order to create our walls, our fortresses within, and our towers. In order to prepare ourselves, I'm just going to continue with the color green just because I have it. We are going to position all our walls in the right place, our fortresses, and the towers. Once we have that, we're pretty much ready. As you can see in the board, each one has a number of icons. These are the resources that you need to gather in order to get whatever the construction you want to get at any given point. So you need to go from left to right. So if you want to get the first wall, you only need 1 coin. If you want to get the second wall, you need to get 1 coin, 1 rice, and 1 stone, so on and so forth. We have 4 different resources in the game. We have rice, wood, stone, and coins. Coins you can get in different ways, but you can trade 2 of any given resource, 2 rice, 2 woods, or 2 stones to get 1 coin, or you can take 1 coin and trade it for 1 rice, 1 wood, or 1 stone. That's it. When you get to a certain point, like when you get here to get your 4th wall, you get 3 victory points, and if you get the 5th wall, you get 5 victory points. You also get 4 victory points if you get your 4th fortress, and when you start to get towers, then you get 3, 6, and 10 victory points as well. So it is important as a as a strategy to win the game, to get as many of these constructions as possible. But as you will see when you play the game, that is not the only strategy that you can use to win this game at all. Let's take a look at more components because there's a little bit more to come. These are the disciple, and we have 22 of them. Whenever we buy one of our walls, we are going to choose one of the disciples and put it here. So we can get maximum of 5 disciples throughout the game. Why is this important? Because each one of them is going to allow us to do something different. So for example, this disciple here will allow us to change once per round 1 wood for a coin. This is a very, very powerful one. This one will allow us to get 1 extra coin, 1 extra wood every time in flush that we put a village on a forest. Or this one will give us a rise whenever we put a village on on the sea, so on and so forth. This one will allow us to trade 1 stone for 4 victory points once per round, or this one will allow us to trade 1 gold coin for 5 victory points once per round. As you can see, our followers are really, really important in this game. More components. These little tiles, and we have a number of them, we are going to choose one every time that we make a fortress. There are several of them, and some will either allow us to get some end of game winning conditions or directly give us some victory points. It is entirely up to us which ones we choose. So at the end of the game, for instance, in this one, if we have 1 or 0 or 1 tower, we're going to get 2 victory points. If we get 2 towers, we're going to get 4, and if we get 3 towers, we're going to get 7. The 3 towers that are going to go here. Same with fortresses. The player who's got the most villages on the sea is going to get a number of points. The player with the most amount of rise at the end of the game is going to get a number of points, so on and so forth. There are a number of tiles from this one as well, and we can put them wherever we want. Of course, we have our resources. Let me put these aside in the shape of wood, stone, coins, and, yep, you guessed it, rice. These are the 4 resources. You may think there aren't that many here for a game that relies so heavily on this, but the point of the game, though, is that unless you trade and you work with them all the time, yeah, you're not going to get anywhere. Because believe me, trying to hoard this so you can get as many victory points at the end just by accumulating this is a big, big mistake. You're never going to win that way. Trust me, don't bother. These are more than enough to win the game and to play it very, very comfortably. We also get some Providence tiles. At the beginning of the game, we are going to get each player 2 of these, but we are only allowed to keep 1, so you have to choose very wisely. These are end of game winning conditions as well. So what they will allow you to do is, for example, the player that controls the most number of forest tiles in here is going to get 6 points, and the second player is going to get 3. The player that gets the most number of villages in this particular section of the board is going to get 6 points, and the second is going to get 3, so on and so forth. So this is the way that the game has to encourage you to get as creative and try to really push yourself to a winning strategy. Of course, you keep these secrets. You don't show them to the other players. These are just for you and for you alone. And we also get these 4 triangular tiles. These are going to go on the corners of the board, And again, the player that reaches here, the first, it's going to get 10 points. The one that has the second is going to get 6 points, and the third is going to get 2 points. And this is the way that the game has to encourage you to expand and move away from the center and make longer lines, which I will explain in a minute exactly what they are. Last, but by no means least, because they are absolutely imperatively pivotal in this game, we get this beautiful looking bag with loads and loads of these cheats. Now these cheats have the 3 main resources, which are rice, wood and stone. Important bit is that you can see at the bottom of each cheat how you have, the tokens. You get a little drawing. That drawing tells you what you're going to find on the other side. So here we will find stone on the other side. For this wood we will find rice on the other side. And for this stone we will find wood on the other side. This will become very, very important and very, very clear when we play the game. Let's set it up. This is the setup for a 4-player game. Firstly, put the board on the table, of course. Put the 4 triangular tiles on the corners. Your player token on number 0. Draw 5 disciples and leave the other stack uncovered. Draw 5 of these tiles and keep these resource tiles and put them here. Number 4 always stays open because you can choose them instead of any of these whenever you construct one of your fortresses. Put your resources close to where everybody can get them, and each player is going to get their board with all their constructions, and of course the bag with all the cheats that you're going to use throughout the game. For a 4-player game, you're going to use all of them. For a 3 or 2, you're going to use fewer, and for a 2-player game, you also use these tokens. These are ruin tokens that are going to go around the board just to block some of the spaces, otherwise it can get a little bit unruly. In this particular case, we will not use them. So, how to play the game? This is where things become really cool. As rulers and gods of this land, we are going to create divine lines. By doing so, we're going to get resources. At the beginning of each round, we're going to take one tile, one little token from this bag, and we're going to use it to create a divine line. A divine line is pretty much any line that we create with it, but it is very important to think that it depends on where we put this. The divine line is going to end in one place or another. A line is compressed by all the tiles in line between the type of resource that you place and the first resource of the same kind or the last that you find on the line. So for example, in this one, the whole line would be this. If I put it here, the whole line would be this one because it begins with wood, continues with the stone, ends with wood. We are going to get the resources in the line with one exception. We get the resource that we place and the resource that the line finishes with. But anything in between, we're going to flip the token to get the resource that's on the other side. This becomes very important when the lines are longer. So let's construct a longer line, shall we? So for example, let's say that we played a few rounds and we have this. We have now, for example, this as well. We have this and we have that, and we have this and this. Okay, so if I wanted to place this wood, for instance, I could place it here. This is the straight line that I announce I want to make, you know, the divine line. So I would be getting this wood and this wood, that wood, that stone, and that stone as well. So suddenly I have 3 woods and 2 stones, but no rice. Next player draws randomly and decide that they need some wood as well. So what they're going to do is to place it, I don't know, here, to make a 4-tile straight line. So they're going to get wood because that is what they place at the very beginning, wood because that is what they have at the end of the line. We turn these 2 around and we get 1 stone and 1 rice. So that is wood, stone, rice, wood, and those are the 4 resources that that player will take, so they can use them to buy whatever it is they want to buy at any point in their turn. That is how you place your tiles. Now, once you have your resources, let's say that, I don't know, because I put this, I have 2 woods, so I'm going to change 2 woods for a coin, and I am going to use this coin to buy my first wall. I'm going to put my wall on a tile. They have to be always on a constructed village. You cannot put them in an empty space of the board. Always on a built village. Done. That changes how you are going to use the resources. So if the next player, for instance, they wanted to get that, they would be getting 1 stone, 1 wood, because once the village is on, once the wall is on the village, this tile will not flip anymore, and then another stone. The line ends with the same that you place. So if you had placed, I don't know, let's find rice instead of stone, the line would end here. If you have placed wood, the line would end here. That's a little bit of a strategy because sometimes, I don't know, maybe you need more stone and you don't really want any of these. But obviously, the longer the line that you can make, the more resources you're going to get, the more stuff that you're going to be able to do. I have already said that once you have a village, once you have a wall on the village, you get the resource. But if you have a fortress, because you can no longer see the resource inside, then you would be getting 1 gold coin. And you get it if you are the one building. So if instead of a red one, it is a, so instead of a green one, it's a red one here. So you can do this. And let me take one of the red constructions. You do that, you can indeed do that. Now the red one, the red player, would be controlling this space. Let me move it here so it's clearer. The red player would be controlling that space. And then the purple player did this. Then the purple player would be controlling this space. This is important to remember because the player controlling the space is the one that's going to get the final victory points. But also it's good to remember because, for example, if you have this Providence tile that allows you, oops, sorry, This Providence tiles that allows you to get victory points with the number of towers that you build. It means that you don't really need to build the towers on your own constructions. You can build it on somebody else's constructions and therefore get the points without having to go through the whole construction of the three buildings stage. And that is very important. That's how the game plays. It doesn't really have a lot more to it than that. It is a very simple game, all things considered. Just create your line, get your resources, build your buildings, choose your disciples, choose your victory point winning conditions, rinse, repeat. That's it. It doesn't have anything else. It's incredibly replayable. It plays in about 40 minutes to an hour if you want to play slowly, and you have an awful lot of things to do throughout, but not so many that you're going to get really bonked up around it. So we love it. This, as far as I'm concerned, if I want to introduce anyone to an Euro style of gaming, I think it would be either this or Naken, but this is a lot bigger produced, and I love it. Absolutely love it. At the end of the game, just score your points. You can score your points as you go along. So, for example, the points that you score here, when you build, you score those immediately, and then the points of the end of game condition points, you get them, well, at the end of the game. If you have scoring conditions because a disciple gives you a means to do it, then you score those immediately. You don't wait until the end of the game, because otherwise you would get, of course, lost. But that's it. Please ask me any questions you may have about the game. I really love it. Really is very, very well worth it. If you can get your hands on it, if you want a light to medium heaviness of Euro game, this is fantastic, and I am having a blast playing it. But until the next time, thank you very much indeed for being there. It is truly appreciated. Please let me know if you have any questions about the game, and I will be more than happy to answer. So play wheel.